Welcome back to Brandon Sports, everybody. Hope you have an amazing day. I'm here to give you guys my WWE Backlash review for Saturday, May 9th, 2026. Before we get into the review, guys, please hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for more great content headed your way. My overall thoughts about Backlash tonight, I thought it was a decent show. I didn't think it was a great, phenomenal show. I didn't think it was a snooze fest or a boring show. However, did I think that this was a premium live event? No. And I'm going to tell you why before we get into the breakdown of the actual show. The reason why I think it was actually a great premium live event, or just a premium live event in general, is because you guys are paying $30 and they're putting it on ESPN2 for free. So the people who are paying $30 are being gypped out of that first hour. They put the first hour on ESPN2 just like they did WrestleMania's Night 1 and WrestleMania Night 2. Now, Night 2 is on ESPN. But I feel like for a premium live event that they're labeling it, I still call it a pay-per-view. But for this to be a premium live event and you only get 5 matches, they have to stop doing this. They have to at least have 7 matches. Having 5 matches is too short. This is basically a Saturday night's main event or a Monday Night Raw. Just a souped up version with more presentation. And I honestly feel like a lot of people are being gypped out of their money when you think about it like that. Now, as far as the actual show goes, it was a nice pace to the show tonight. I thought that there weren't a lot of ads. Obviously, like WrestleMania was just an ad fest. I thought they really did that at WrestleMania to make a lot of money. I think they did that for money-wise. It's WrestleMania. How can we get sponsorships to continuously pay us a lot of money that they wouldn't give us for a Monday Night Raw or a Saturday night's main event? I truly think that they did that intentionally just for the money because it was WrestleMania and they made a lot of money on these advertisements for WrestleMania. But now because it's on ESPN and it's a Backlash pay-per-view, they basically scaled the ads down a lot. So the pace of the show was fine. It was smooth sailing. I didn't really have a problem with the pacing. I thought the match order was actually correct. It was Seth Rollins and Bron Breakker to open the show. After that, you had Trick Williams going up against Sami Zayn, which was the second match of the night. You had Danhausen's match was third, IYO SKY's match was fourth, and Roman Reigns versus Fatu was obviously the main event of tonight's show. I thought the match order was absolutely excellent, the way that they paced the show. All these matches went over 10 minutes. Every single match that we complained for WrestleMania Night 1, because a lot of those matches didn't go over 10 minutes, all of these matches went over 10 minutes. As a matter of fact, the first match went 21 minutes and 45 seconds. The second match went 12 minutes and 52 seconds. The third match went 11 minutes and 50 seconds. Now, that was too long. I wouldn't have complained if it was basically 8 minutes. I wouldn't have not complained at all. We'll get to that later. But the next match after that, which was IYO SKY's match, was 18 minutes 30 seconds. Then Roman Reigns' match with Fatu was 18 minutes and 15 seconds. I thought that match could have gone longer. If you had to ask me which match you would have took time from, I would have took time from the Danhausen match and put an extra 5 minutes on the Roman Reigns match just because I thought it was a phenomenal match. But we'll get to that later on in the review. So the show went by smoothly. Again, if this was the episode of Monday Night Raw, it would have been a phenomenal Monday Night Raw or a SmackDown, because SmackDown was horrible. You guys check out my review on SmackDown. It was absolutely terrible. But this show wasn't bad at all. I just don't think it was a premium live event worthy to spend $30 on. That's the really complaint that I have in this entire show, except for one more thing. We'll get to that. But throughout this entire thing, charging $30 to see matches that you could basically see on SmackDown or Monday Night Raw, it just feels like you're crapping on the people that are paying the money to basically watch these shows. So we open up the show tonight with Bron Breakker and Seth Rollins. Before we get to that, they finally did something that I liked. So Backlash opened up tonight with Pyro with Michael Cole and Wade Barrett. Welcome to the show. Now, if you guys can go back and look at my SmackDown reviews, look at my Monday Night Raw reviews, you guys will see that I say every single week it's the same presentation every single week. What do I mean by that? What I mean is that they have no pyro on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. And the one thing I know a lot of people are going to roll their eyes when I say his name, but Vince McMahon was good at giving presentation. Not towards 2017, 18, and 19 when he got rid of pyro, because that actually got on my nerves too. But before, in the early 2000s, the mid 2000s, even the late 2010s, the one thing I appreciated about the presentation of WWE was that we got pyro. It was exciting. We got different stage sets and designs. That's the one thing that I really liked about the presentation that Vince McMahon offered up. Now, the presentation under TKO has been absolutely terrible. The sets are terrible. It's the same set that we get on Raw and SmackDown, and I complain about that all the time. These sets are terrible, but they did something I liked tonight. They gave us pyro to open the show. It's supposed to be a premium live event feel. Give us some pyro, give us a different intro, and give us different looks and opportunities to actually enjoy the show and give off a better presentation. Now, they gave us pyro tonight. Hopefully, they do the same thing with Raw and SmackDown moving forward. It needs better presentation. It needs different sets, but that's a discussion for another day. But I did want to highlight that they did do something in the beginning of the show that I really liked, which was give us pyro and give us a better presentation that they've been giving us for the past 2 to 3 years under TKO. So tonight we started off with Seth Rollins versus Bron Breakker. Both guys make their entrances. They open the event. Breakker immediately missed a spear at the beginning of the match, allowing Rollins to inflict early offense before Breakker could gain control. At ringside, Rollins interrupted a charge by Bron Breakker with a super kick. Breakker sent Rollins over the announce table with a clothesline. That patent move that he loves to do is basically jump off of the apron off the ring and go into the announcer table. I think that's a phenomenal move that Bron Breakker does. Rollins attempted a superplex, which Breakker reversed into a Falcon Arrow for a 2 count. That was an amazing spot in the match. There were only 2 things that kind of concerned me about this match, and I think it's because Bron Breakker hasn't been in the ring, and they even said it on commentary that he has been out of the ring for 5 months, so you could basically tell when some of the moves that they were botching. They're supposed to do something that they botched, which I forget from the top of my mind, but they did have a really good match in my opinion, but there were 2 botches in this match where basically they kind of messed it up, but basically who cares? They made up for it by having a great match overall. So after Breakker versus the Falcon Arrow by Seth Rollins, he makes his own Falcon Arrow for a 2 count. After Rollins countered with a Frankenstein, he executed a pedigree and a stomp. Heyman made the distraction, allowing Breakker in the vision. Stabler makes Logan Paul and Austin Theory to interfere. Now this is the one thing too that I did not like. I did not want Austin Theory and Logan Paul to interfere because I wanted Bron Breakker to get this on his own. If he's going to be the future, he's got to do it on his own. Now you're going to say, well, what about Roman Reigns? Roman Reigns is already established, and that was a part of the Bloodline story. This right here doesn't need to be a part of Bron Breakker's story. Yes, can Roman Reigns do that? Yes. But Bron Breakker needs to be different from the interference. Now, Paul Heyman being a distraction, fine. Seth Rollins could just knock him off the rope and do whatever. But the rest of the guys coming out there, it makes it a little bit cheeky for me. I didn't really like it. Again, I thought we could have done without Logan Paul and Austin Theory when it came to them interfering. But of course, they're going to do that because that's what they always do in WWE. It has to be some type of interference. Paul Heyman is fine. I get it. He's the manager. Managers are going to interfere no matter what. But having Austin Theory and Logan Paul interfere, I didn't really like that because I just wanted Bron Breakker to do it on his own. Even Paul Heyman doing it, I didn't really want him to do it, but I do understand it. But the other guys doing it, I didn't want them to be involved. So after they come out, Seth Rollins basically beats those guys up with a chair. He sends Logan Paul running up the aisleway. After that, Seth Rollins enters the ring. Breakker immediately hit him with a spear for a near fall. After that, Rollins countered another spear into a pedigree out the air, kind of like the similar thing he did with Roman Reigns at Money in the Bank. If you guys don't remember the Money in the Bank, when Seth Rollins was facing Roman Reigns, that's when Dean Ambrose cashed in, and Roman Reigns going for a spear, but he basically countered it with a pedigree. This was a phenomenal, and it looked like Bron Breakker got even higher in the air than Roman Reigns did at Money in the Bank, so that was a good callback to that. That was actually really good in this match. Breakker intercepted a stomp from the middle rope. Now, after he hits that pedigree, he goes up to the turnbuckle and tries to hit a super stomp. And Bron Breakker hit Seth Rollins with a spear out and up in the air, which I thought was fantastic. Then after that, Seth Rollins gets back up. Bron Breakker runs the ropes back and forth and hits him with a nice spear for the pinfall victory. This was Bron Breakker, in my opinion. This was his best match on the main roster, in my opinion. This was phenomenal by Bron Breakker. Him being out of the ring, yes, it was a little rusty here and there, but him and Seth Rollins really delivered on the opening of the show. And I thought Seth Rollins and Bron Breakker set the tone for this entire show, excluding one part, which we'll get to, but I thought they did a fantastic job. I thought Seth Rollins did amazing. Now, after this match was over and by the time the show was over, Seth Rollins did come out and say he's not done with the Vision, although I wish he was, but I get it. They still have a story to tell. He wants to destroy the Vision before going back to compete for the World Heavyweight Championship. I do understand that part about that story. However, me personally, I just think the Vision is boring at this point. You guys will see that on my Monday Night Raw reviews. But this was a great match to open the show. Bron Breakker looked his absolute best. Again, a couple of botches here and there, but this was absolutely great by Bron Breakker and Seth Rollins. And I think coming out of this match for Bron Breakker, it'll set him up for a future World Championship opportunity, probably at SummerSlam, or maybe he wins the Royal Rumble. We'll see where it goes from there. But again, to repeat myself one more time, this was a fantastic match between Bron Breakker and Seth Rollins. I thought they did a nice job opening up Backlash. Now, the next match of the night, we had a WrestleMania rematch for the WWE United States Championship between Trick Williams, accompanied by Little Yachty, and challenger Sami Zayn. Zayn attacked Williams with chops in the corner, but Williams eventually retaliated with a clothesline at ringside. Zayn responded with a Blue Thunder Bomb. He then faked a knee injury for a roll-up pin attempt. After Yachty distracted the referee, Zayn hit Williams with a kendo stick. As Zayn prepared for the hula kick, Yachty hit Zayn with a kendo stick, allowing Williams to land the trick shot for the near fall. Zayn executed a DDT on Williams against the steel steps before attacking Little Yachty with a kendo stick and a hula kick. Zayn missed a hula kick on Trick Williams when they got back into the ring, as he countered it with a trick shot to retain the championship. This was the right outcome in this match, and I thought this was a great match. This is probably one of Trick Williams' best matches on the main roster as well. I know a lot of people are not really comfortable with Trick Williams in the ring yet, but I even said it on my SmackDown reviews for the past couple weeks that he has to continuously keep growing and growing and growing in the ring. A lot of people say he has a great personality, but in the ring, he still lacks. I don't think so. I think he's improving. Every single time he gets to the ring, he's improving. I just think because he has such a bigger stature, that a lot of people are just not comfortable to see a guy moving like that at his size, being so tall. Like a wide receiver. He was a wide receiver in college, so he looks like a big wide receiver just with more muscle in the ring. So it's going to take a while for people to be adjusted to his in-ring style. But I thought him and Sami Zayn did phenomenal work. And I think going forward for Trick Williams, and I got to give Lil Yachty his credit. I kind of dissed Lil Yachty a couple weeks ago with Trick Williams, but he's been there every single week, unlike the other celebrities. And Peter Rosenberg and those guys kept basically running that in the ground. Now listen, Lil Yachty's here every single week. He's here every week. Every single week he's here, which I commend him for that. And he's done a great job with Trick Williams, so I'm going to give him all of his credit. I thought Trick Williams, Lil Yachty did a great tonight. Now, as far as Trick Williams coming out of this is, he did say after the show that he's going to continuously be United States champion and continuously hold this title down and let this be a part of his legacy. And I think they should not have an open challenge, but however, just find somebody that could come up and challenge him for the United States Championship. Maybe him and Ethan Page could get into a feud. Maybe him and Ricky Saints could get into a feud. I forgot Ethan Page is on Raw, but maybe him and Ricky Saints could get into a feud for the United States Championship. I mean, he did face Cody Rhodes and he lost. That's kind of like the same Carmelo Hayes trajectory that they're going to do with Ricky Saints. But again, Ricky Saints and Trick Williams for the United States Championship in a nice feud. I think that would be nice for Trick Williams to be able to move forward with, but we'll see. As far as Sami Zayn goes, at the end of the match, he looked frustrated. He was sitting at ringside. Now, if you guys watch my SmackDown reviews, you guys know I've been going in on Sami Zayn for the past couple of weeks. To me, he's not an underdog. To me, he's not an underdog. I'm going to repeat that one more time. He is not an underdog. Sami Zayn's not an underdog anymore. He main evented WrestleMania. He won both sets of tag team titles at WrestleMania with his best friend, Kevin Owens. He won the Intercontinental title. He won the United States Championship. He's done a lot in his business. An underdog is not a guy who's main evented WrestleMania. I understand he hasn't won the big one, the world title, but he's still not an underdog. And I think a lot of people, when they boo him, I think that's the mentality that you never can get it done. You're always losing. And then you come out there and you cut a promo basically saying, I'm going to be a future world champion. You're yelling and basically looking like you're getting emotional because you want to be a world champion so bad. And I think a lot of people really don't want to hear that anymore, because every time you try to become world champion, you always lose. And I think people are sick of this now. Do I think Sami Zayn is great as a heel? Yes, with the bloodline. I think he's good with the bloodline as a heel. But by himself as a heel, I don't like Sami Zayn as a heel. I like him more as a babyface, but because of the crowd's reaction to him, they're now basically turning him heel. He's acting heel, or he's saying, oh, I don't know why these guys are booing me. You do know why they're booing you. Because you took Carmelo Hayes' spot at WrestleMania, which wasn't his fault, but the booking behind you is going to get you booed. The same thing, I'm not comparing these guys, but follow me for the example of Roman Reigns. When Roman Reigns was booked to be the guy and getting all these opportunities, a lot of people booed him because we knew that the backstage politics were basically pushing him. So we know backstage politics has something to do with Sami Zayn becoming United States Championship or winning the title versus Carmelo Hayes being at WrestleMania with the championship. And a lot of people are upset about that because they think, and I think this too, that Carmelo Hayes deserved to be at WrestleMania versus Trick Williams. So for me, in my opinion, that's why they're booing Sami Zayn. He doesn't get it, but realistically, he has to understand this. He's not dumb. And I see Corey Graves and these guys on the post show saying, well, how does Sami Zayn, he's trying to fight a battle within himself. This is where they think that we're stupid. Sami Zayn was a heel in a bloodline. He betrayed Kevin Owens. He hit him with a low blow, and then after that, Jey Uso or Jimmy Uso, whichever one, went on the top rope in War Games and hit him with a splash, and they won. They beat Kevin Owens in War Games because he was a heel. So you can't keep telling the story that, oh, well, he changed his ways, yes. But once a guy who's been a heel for the past 3 years, and he changed ways for the past 2 to 3 years, he can always revert back to a heel. It's the same thing with Randy Orton. So when we look at Sami Zayn, A lot of stuff that they say on commentary for people who are at home like myself, I'm going to put a thumb down to. I'm going to boo you because first, you're not an underdog. Then people are going to boo you because they feel like you took Carmelo Hayes' opportunity, even though we all know it wasn't Sami Zayn's fault. But the booking backstage is going to get you booed. And then after that, to me, and this is really my last thought on Sami Zayn, is we need a break from Sami Zayn. We need the company, the people who are watching Sami Zayn. We need a break from watching Sami Zayn be on our television every single week and complaining and crying and all this stuff like that. He needs to take a break. That's what it is. He needs to take a break. We've seen enough of him. The same thing with other people who's been on TV and they basically wear out their welcome. Sami Zayn has been on a high for the past 3 to 4 years. I'll give you the quick breakdown. At WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia, he beats Gunther's 666 win title reign at WrestleMania. At WrestleMania 39, what does he do? He wins in the night 1 main event against the Usos. WrestleMania 42, he walks in as United States Champion. So when you look at that run, that's a pretty good run for a guy who is what? Not an underdog. And that's why people are booing Sami Zayn, because we realize that, listen, you've done all this amazing stuff. You're not an underdog anymore. And I think he's having trouble within his character basically accepting that. Like, man, I'm not the underdog anymore because I can never get it done. But Sami Zayn has had a great run these past couple of years on the main roster. Some people, especially you could say, well, enhancement talent or jobbers would dream. They would dream of having Sami Zayn's career. Again, I do think that Sami Zayn just needs to take a break on television for a little while. Let the crowd and the audience miss you. It's been too much of Sami Zayn. I think the crowd's basically sick of it, and I think they basically want him to be able to miss Sami Zayn and not have him complaining or crying about, what did I do? What did I do? We don't need that, because they're gonna boo you even more. But that's it on Sami Zayn. Now, this next part I was dreaded talking about this because I didn't want to, but we're gonna do it anyway. The next match of the night was Danhausen and his mystery partner versus The Miz and Kit Wilson. Now, my first thoughts about this was, a lot of people were saying it was rumored to be Jelly Roll, which would have been probably better than what we'll get to about this match. But a lot of people did think it was CM Punk as well. Would it have been better if it was CM Punk for the pop of the crowd and CM Punk being on the pay-per-view and teaming up with Danhausen, because we know that they're friends in real life? Yes, it would have been better that it would have been CM Punk. It would have been a nice surprise and a nice pop. This felt flattered, just in my opinion. Now, people are going to say, well, you can't have fun. You're being stubborn, blah, blah, blah. No, that's not the point. The point of all of this is that, listen, I don't really criticize Danhausen like that. After the Elimination Chamber debacle, I said I'm not going to criticize him again. I think that he's WWE's new comedy act. And again, a lot of people said that it would blow over, especially behind the scenes of the company. So, it did blow over. The crowd got to know Danhausen. A lot of people like Danhausen. His merch is basically selling a lot. I get it. But when it comes to being on a pay-per-view, this is for SmackDown. This type of match, no disrespect to Danhausen, and I really do love The Miz. I know he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I love The Miz. I hope one day when he gets inducted, I can be there. That's the only Hall of Fame induction that I would want to go to, because he seriously worked his behind off. But I don't think he deserves this anymore. Enough. I know he's a great face for the company, but eventually we're going to have to say that The Miz is being given the wrong hand. I know he's been there for over 20 years now, but still, come on now. He doesn't have to be in this spot. It could have been somebody else, but he's a good dude. He's a company guy, so I understand it. I truly do. But at the same time, I don't want to see The Miz continue to go through this. He needs to get a little bit more respect on his name for the hard work that he put in. Now, having said all that, this match would have been meant for SmackDown. To me, I don't get the whole Kit Wilson thing. I always said about Kit Wilson that you guys see his character on television, that if there was a character to combat everything that he says about toxicity and being toxic, WWE would be on the news every single Friday night for if somebody were really to combat the talking points that Kit Wilson has to say. So do I like Kit Wilson's character? No, I don't. But this entire thing should have never been on the show. People are going to say you're a Debbie Downer. I'm sorry. I give Danhausen a pass. The whole time he's been there, except for Elimination Chamber, I've given Danhausen a pass. Tonight, I cannot do it. I try to be unbiased, not put my personal feelings in it. I leave him alone. Having said all that, this is ridiculous. Danhausen comes out, The Miz and everybody, Kit Wilson already in the ring. Danhausen comes out. He opens up his cloning machine to reveal a Minihausen as his partner. It could have been anybody else. But he reveals a, quote, midget. They like to be called midgets. I know it's called little person, but they like to be called midgets. They want to be called midgets. That's what they requested, especially at WrestleMania. They requested that. Michael Cole said it on commentary. So he reveals a Danhausen as his partner. Wilson attacked the Danhausen, who responded with strikes and a springboard spinning shoulder. Danhausen chased Wilson toward the stage, eventually entering the cloning machine. Now, let's stop for a second right there. As soon as he entered the cloning machine, I said that he basically, Kit Wilson picked up the door and put it back on. And when he did that, as soon as he did that, if you guys are watching it or didn't get to see it, I looked over to my left and I saw somebody walking into the machine. So I said, okay, they're going to start off with a little Danhausen, and then they're going to give you this big bang, the surprise, the CM Punk, or even the Jelly Roll. Let's just say that. But they're going to give you somebody else. And what did they do? What did they do that was dumb? As soon as that door came open, it was like 5, 6, 7, 8 of the Danhausens running out. And I looked at this and said, come on, man. Come on, Triple H. And by the way, a lot of people saying, well, Triple H doesn't have control. No, he has control over stuff like this. I understand the Pat McAfee situation. I understand Cody Rhodes and Aaron Manuel and those guys getting involved, which I hate TKO. But come on, Triple H has enough power to say, we're not doing this match on Backlash. If he doesn't have that power, then he has no power at all. Come on now. We have to be critical but fair. We gave him a pass on the Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes feud, but this is ridiculous. He has the say-so. Now, people are going to say, oh, this is entertaining, this is funny. They're saying it because they like the person that Danhausen is. But this being on a pay-per-view, come on, man. No. We could have another women's match on this show, for crying out loud. I just didn't think this had any place being on the show. So after the little Danhausens run out of the cloning machine, the original Danhausen did perform the airplane spin into a wasteland on Wilson, basically way better than crazy on commentary. After that, Wilson blocked the curse with a mirror, and then The Miz hit Danhausen with the Skull Crush finale. Danhausen broke up the ensuing pinfall attempt. Miz tried to use a fire extinguisher on himself, on Danhausen, but it malfunctioned, and he basically sprayed himself in the eyes. He sprayed him and Kit Wilson in the eyes. After that, Danhausen then delivered a pump kick to Wilson for the victory. This match was over, and I was glad it was over. Again, I have no problem with people wanting to have fun. And here's another thing too. The reason why people don't like this is because the rest of the shows on Monday, especially Fridays, we know that WWE has not been good creatively for the past year. I've said since 2024, that was basically the best WWE creative year that they had in a long time. 2025 was awful, and now 2026 has been awful this entire time. People would enjoy this if the rest of the show was fantastic and phenomenal, and the people backstage were booking this to be great. The problem is that people roll their eyes at stuff like this when what? When the rest of the show is not good. I'm not talking about Backlash. I'm just talking about Raw and SmackDown in general, because those shows have not been good at all. SmackDown was horrible last night, and Raw was terrible too. So that's why people complain. If the rest of the shows are absolutely great and they give you this, there's no problem. But the problem is that these shows are horrible, and on top of the horribleness, you're giving us this too. That's why people are complaining. Or that's my theory on why people are complaining. You could put this out there if you want to, but the rest of the show has to be good. If the rest of the show is not good and you're putting this out there, people are going to roll their eyes and be mad at it. And you can't blame people for being mad at this. You cannot. If you enjoyed it, you enjoyed it. But if you didn't like it, you have a right to say that you didn't like it. Again, I said I wouldn't criticize Danhausen because I know what WWE is trying to do with him. I basically said that Danhausen is basically R-Truth's replacement. That after his contract is up and he's done with the company or he retires, whatever, Danhausen would take R-Truth's spot as being the funny, comedic guy in WWE. And I truly stand by that comment that he's basically taking that R-Truth spot in the company. But again, this match should have never been on the show. I didn't really care for it. If you liked it, you liked it. If you don't, I'm not going to complain about it. But this is really the one standing thing that really stood out that I was like, man, we didn't really need this. We could handle the women's match, or we could have done something else. But again, I'm not going to complain about it. I'm not going to be too harsh, but it is what it is. We can't keep doing this if the creative is going to be bad on Raw and SmackDown. We just can't. The next match tonight was IYO SKY versus Asuka, followed the Danhausen match. Sky sent Asuka into the corner and kicked her in the face while utilizing the ring apron. Asuka trapped Sky in a Boston Crab through the ropes and began targeting Sky's arm. Sky countered an armbar attempt by applying the Asuka lock, forcing Asuka to break the hold with the ring ropes. At ringside, Asuka attempted to blind Sky with the green mist, but Sky blocked it with a laptop followed by a crossbody off the announce table. Sky attempted the over the moonsault, which Asuka successfully blocked. Asuka then applied the Asuka lock. However, Sky managed to roll through the ropes road to reach the ropes, Sky was hit with a German suplex, but responded with a German suplex of her own. She then executed the bullet train attack and over the moonsault to defeat Asuka. This was one of the best matches on card tonight, and after this match was over, Asuka looked emotional. They finally hugged, and during this match, by the way, just to give you guys a quick thing, they were chanting, "We want Kyrie, we want Kyrie, we want Kyrie," which again, that's what this feud was basically based off of. And I think the one thing that I truly think at the end of this match, Asuka and IYO SKY embraced each other, gave a hug. Asuka was basically kissing on IYO SKY and was really giving her a hug. And the one thing I want to say about that was a lot of people saying that she's going to retire. I don't think so. I think she's taking a break. I'm not going to lie. If I'm WWE, I give her the rest of the year off. You're not going to do anything with her anyway. You release Kairi Sane. I don't think she's going to retire. But I do think that you can bring her back at the Royal Rumble if you really want to. Again, make the crowd miss her. There's really nothing for her to do on TV right now. As a matter of fact, you could literally have her just go away for a long time, come back at next year's Royal Rumble if she wants to take that much of a sabbatical and be gone for a long time, because right now it's May. So you have June all the way through January. Have her come back at the Royal Rumble, have a strong showing and put her on SmackDown and have her challenge for WWE Women's Championship, or have her come back not at Royal Rumble or even SummerSlam later this year, maybe in August or September, she can come back. But I'll put her on SmackDown, get her away from IYO SKY, and give her something new and fresh to deal with. Maybe her and Rhea Ripley can feud if she comes back, but she did embrace IYO SKY in this, She embraced her, so I do think that was a nice send-off for her. She'll go on a sabbatical. Do I think she's retiring? No. She doesn't need to retire. They don't wrestle so much. Now, I can understand if they were doing house shows and different things like that, then maybe retire because your body's so damaged. But right now, technically, they don't need to do. They're doing a good job with the roster. I mean, not storyline wise, but they have a good, strong enough roster support that if she wants to take some time off, she could take some time off, relax her body, let her body heal if she's dealing with injuries. And after that, come back even stronger at SummerSlam or even the Royal Rumble. But that's what I would do. Let her take some good time off, let her get her mind out of the ring, and then come back at the Royal Rumble. But this was a great match between them. Again, they embraced. Now this feud is over. Now we'll possibly see IYO SKY. Maybe she goes on to face a Becky Lynch, or maybe she goes and challenges Liv Morgan for the world title. I think that's where you go with IYO SKY moving forward. But other than that, Asuka will probably be gone for a little while. IYO SKY, you can use her in the world title scene, or you could use her with Becky Lynch. We'll see what goes on. But again, this is a fantastic match between them. I have no complaints about this. A WrestleMania quality type match. Well, this should have been on WrestleMania. This should have been on WrestleMania. And I know people are going to say, well, they were backstage rumbling, oh, we're going to save it for the next pay-per-view because they didn't want to overput WrestleMania. No, you don't do that. It's WrestleMania. But even AJ Styles said, hey, WrestleMania has lost some of its luster, which it has because of the ads and TKO. But other than that, this match is supposed to be on WrestleMania, so they really delivered on a match that was supposed to be on that card. So again, props to them. This was really, really good. This was fantastic match. I have no complaints about this. They ended the feud. They embraced it with each other, and that was it. So good on Asuka and IYO SKY. All right, next up, this is where I have a little bit of trepidation on that. I didn't really want to talk about this either, but I'm going to do it because obviously it was a part of the show. John Cena came out and thanked the crowd for the ovation, different things like that. The same thing John Cena did at WrestleMania. However, John Cena came out and announced the John Cena Classic, a competition that showcases present stars against future stars. Cena reflected on the final night of his in-ring career at Saturday Night's main event, where they featured young talent like Obafemi, Javon Evans, and Sol Ruka. Fans would vote to crown the inaugural champion from a pool of participants, noting that even those who suffered losses remain eligible to win the competition. Now, here's what I'm going to say. Since I gave you guys information, here's what I'll say about that. I don't have a problem with John Cena being a part of WWE. The problem I have is that he just retired, so I want to be able to miss John Cena not being around. When you retire, be off TV for at least 6 months, at least 8-10 months. Hell, I don't even care if he came back in this December after being gone for an entire year. He could have came back. Now, as far as this announcement goes with John Cena, do I think it's good for the John Cena Classic doing something after him to honor him? I have no problem with that. But when you say this will redefine my career, to me, this is not going to redefine your career, John. And the one problem I did have with this is that we don't need this now. We don't need another classic or not even an open challenge. We don't need this. A lot of people are excited for it, but we just don't need this. This is just another attempt by the company to deflect from the fact that they just can't book anything. I'm not being negative towards John Cena. I'm being negative towards him doing this. We don't need another championship. They barely defend the Women's United States Championship on SmackDown. I don't honestly think that the Women's United States Championship that they have in WWE has been defended on a PLE this entire time. Saturday night's main event is not considered a PLE. It's just considered Saturday night's main event. They haven't even defended that title. The tag team division is stuck. And we're doing the John Cena Classic. We don't need this right now. If creative was better and different things like that, I bet you they find a way to mess this up. I bet you they're going to find a way to mess up the John Cena Classic. Again, I have no problem with John Cena announcing this and them doing it in his honor. I have no problem. The problem is the company doesn't know how to book anything. Just because this show went well tonight doesn't mean that they booked Raw well. Raw was horrible. SmackDown this week was so bad. And the last week before that, SmackDown was so awful that I fell asleep during the show and didn't do the review. And I was so tired and exhausted because of how bad that show was. SmackDown's a horrible show, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't checked out my review, go check it out. But SmackDown's a horrible show. And thinking that they will be able to book a John Cena Classic, I don't think they're going to be able to do it. I think they're going to mess something up. And John Cena says, well, it's about the fans. Yeah, it is about the fans. But for some reason, this company is so terrible at booking stuff that they're just going to find a way to mess it up. And you're going to say, well, that's a negative mindset to have. Well, this show has been negative and been horrible. So do I think they're going to do a good job with John Cena Classic? No. Do I think the wrestlers are going to do great? Do I think the wrestlers are going to be off the chain? It's going to be great? It's going to be fine? Yes. But do I think the company booking this is going to be great? No. Because they haven't proven otherwise. They just haven't proven it. But again, salute to John Cena for this. Do I think we needed it right now? No, we did not. And to me, they're doing this because they need something for the summer because WWE starts to have a slow period around June and July before we pick it up at SummerSlam. And then after that, it starts to go slow by September. So we'll see how they're going to book this and how they'll do this. But again, do I trust WWE with John Cena Classic? No, because they didn't even do his retirement tour well. They did not at all. Next up, we have the main event. Roman Reigns defended the World Heavyweight Championship against Jacob Fatu in the main event. Fatu knocked Reigns to the floor to start off the match for a suicide dive, applied the tongue and death grip, subsequently sending the champion into the ring post. After Fatu voluntarily released the hold, Reigns recovered and executed a neck snap across the top rope. Fatu shoved Reigns from the corner and trapped his arm for the clothesline. When Fatu collided with the ring post, Reigns connected with a Superman punch for a 1 count. This was fantastic. The Superman punch and him kicking out at 1 and getting right up, I thought that was great. Whoever booked this match, they did a phenomenal job. I wish it went an extra 10 minutes. Maybe 8 minutes or something like that. But I thought this match should have went longer because it was really good. This was a really good main event that they had tonight. And I wish it went just a little bit longer. About 5 minutes. I said 10 minutes, 8 minutes, I'm bugging. 5 more minutes would have been just right. Let them sell a bit more. Let them be laid out. Let the crowd give them applause. Certain things like that. At the beginning, it went by kind of slow. But this was really great, especially for Jacob Fatu. But we continue. So after that, Fatu later executed a running Umaga attack, basically hitting Roman Reigns' head in the corner. But Reigns countered with a Superman punch for a near fall at ringside. Fatu powerbombed Reigns to the announcer's table, which this is a great spot by Jacob Fatu, powerbombing Reigns to the table. Back in the ring, Reigns hit a spear for a 2 count, but Fatu countered a subsequent charge with a pop-up Samoan drop and a triple moonsault for the near fall. Fatu then went to go hit a Swanton bomb into Reigns, but Roman Reigns put his knees up. Fatu delivered another Umaga attack in the corner. He reapplied the tongue and death grip. However, Reigns survived the hold. Following up a referee bump, Reigns hit a Superman punch and a spear, although the recovering official stopped the 2 count. By the way, this was a botch. Jacob Fatu should have kicked out even faster, but again, the referee kind of gave him a lot of leeway on that. It should have been 3, but he did kick out, but he just was a little bit late. I'm not going to criticize him, but he was just a little bit too late on the kick out, and the referee kind of curved his arm. You could basically see it because I think the crowd was cheering to the referee, you effed up, you effed up, you effed up. So they really saw that, hey, you're supposed to kick out a little bit faster than that. And Roman Reigns did that too early in the match. I forgot to point that out. Roman Reigns did do that at the beginning, not the beginning, but when Jacob Fatu went for the pinfall, it was so close. These pin attempts were so close. And the one thing I'll say about that is Roman Reigns is the master at like 1, 2, like 2.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. And then by 2.9, he kicks out, like before he gets to 3. So he is the master of doing that. However, both of those guys were kind of late when it came to that being so close to 3. Fatu attempted the death grip, the tongue and death grip one more time for a final time, but Reigns sent Fatu face first into the exposed turnbuckle. Reigns then hit a final spear to retain the championship. Jacob Fatu completely snapped. He argued with the referee before grabbing Roman and applying the tongue of death grip again. This time he's laying on the ground and he's just choking life out of Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns basically foaming out the mouth. He's spitting out the mouth. After that, Fatu locked it in for the second time, and this time he took the referee and hit a pop-up Samoan drop. This was great. I thought this was really, really great. So he hits the referee with a pop-up Samoan drop. After that, Fatu then applied the tongue of death grip once more as officials rushed to the ring, but he destroyed everyone who was trying to stop him. He threw Adam Pearce out the ring. I thought that was great. That was the one highlight of my night. When he threw Adam Pearce out the ring, I said yes. Because you guys know on my Raw reviews, I cannot stand Adam Pearce always running out there and screaming, hey, stop it. Stop. Like, he just does it every single week, and it gets annoying. It gets truly, it gets annoying when he does it. It's horrible. Literally horrible when he comes up there. And they continue to keep bringing Jason Jordan and everybody else there. I hate when they do that. Just let the guys, let them choke him out. We don't need security to run in every single time. We don't need these backstage officials interfering all the time. Right now, this would have been a perfect spot for the Usos to come out. And guess what? It would have made Jacob Fatu look even stronger by knocking them out. And then security could have came out. But the fact that you sent security early, I was like, come on, man. Like, just let him beat up Roman Reigns. He should have did another triple moonsault off the ropes. He should have just ran another one. He should have did what he did with Braun Strowman and just jumped on the rope, did the running moonsault, jump up on the ropes, and basically do a moonsault. And continues to just keep doing that over and over again. Hit him with a tongue of death grip, lay him out, let him just lay there, and just hit that moonsault like 3 or 4 times and just continuously keep beating up on Roman Reigns. And then the Usos come out and try to help out because the Usos were there, just to let you guys know. They were there on the pre-show panel talking about being at FCW, Florida Championship Wrestling, and all NXT and all stuff like that. That's what they were talking about on the pre-show, but they couldn't go save Roman Reigns, even though Jey Uso's been a hothead. So I didn't get that. You have this guy continuously being a hothead every single week, but when it comes time to help Roman Reigns, they didn't want to do it. Now, you guys are going to say, well, Jacob Fatu said if they come out, he's going to basically burn the whole family down. That was for the match. The match was over. Roman Reigns got the pinfall victory. He needed the turnbuckle, but he got the pinfall victory. After the match is over, when you see the tribal chief is being attacked, then you guys come out. And then it makes Jacob Fatu again look even stronger because you just have him beat them up and hit and basically put the tongue and death grip on both the cousins, both the Usos, and they all of them out. And the only reason why I think they did not do it is because after this PLE went off the air and we went into the post-show, Roman Reigns said that Jacob Fatu doesn't belong here. He doesn't belong in his company, and this will be his last night because he doesn't follow order. So apparently they're not done. I guess they turned Jacob Fatu heel, even though I don't think he's going to be heel, especially in today's climate. Somebody's going to cheer for him. Some people are going to boo him, but most people it's going to be split down the middle when it comes to Jacob Fatu because of his promos and the way he's likability and the way that he's getting himself back over. Because there was a time where he was out there cutting a promo, especially against Drew McIntyre, and it really wasn't working. And I really felt bad for him at that time. But I say he needed a fresh start on Monday Night Raw as well. I really did say that after WrestleMania, they should move him to Monday Night Raw and start a feud. And as soon as after WrestleMania, he confronted Roman Reigns. So that was actually the good part that they did with him. The only bad part is they just continuously keep sending him to SmackDown, which they shouldn't be doing that. They should just say, hey, you know what? We traded Gunther for Jacob Fatu. How easy is that to say that you traded Jacob Fatu for Gunther? You could easily just say that. Hey, we made a trade. The trade window opened back up. We made a nice trade. We traded Gunther for Jacob Fatu so that we could just have an explanation. But you keep sending him to SmackDown defeats the purpose. Because now you can't send Gunther back to Raw because he's officially on SmackDown. They need to officially put Jacob Fatu on Raw, but they won't do it. Why? Because when Roman Reigns is not there, they're going to need the Usos to show up on SmackDown and talk to Jacob every single week like they've been doing, especially back on the Bloodline for the past, 4 years from 2020 to 2024. Whenever Roman Reigns wasn't there, the Usos and Paul Heyman would handle the dirty work and Sami Zayn. It's the same principle. So that's why they're not booking him to stay on one show. That's just my opinion. But this was fantastic. This was a great main event again. I wish it went another 5 minutes. But I was really happy the way that this turned out. Again, besides the Danhausen part about this show, did I think it was a premium live event? No. Do I think this was as good as a Sunday's main event? I mean, yeah. The only problem I really had with it was the Danhausen match and the fact that they charged you guys $30 to watch this. But again, was it a solid show? I'll give it a nice C+. If I really want to be overly nice and say I'll give it a B-, but I'm not there. We need to continuously do better. It was 5 matches. 4 matches were good. Danhausen match, it wasn't good at all to me. It was just a waste of time. But this was a solid C+ for me. I thought these guys knocked out the park. Again, I don't really criticize the wrestlers in the ring. I more so criticize the booking and what they're doing backstage to affect these shows. Again, it could have been 2 more matches on tonight's show. It would have made it better. But again, I thought it was a C+ and an A for effort on behalf of the wrestlers. And that's one thing I want to say too. For the wrestlers to go out there and perform this way and put on a show for the crowd, even though we hate the booking of the company, for these guys to go out there and put on a great show, kudos to them. Again, some of the stuff is not their fault. It's the company's fault because they don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to book anything. But this was a solid C+. I didn't really have any complaints outside of Danhausen, but other than that, this was a good show. Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu killed it again. I wish it went longer, but they did a good job in this main event for Backlash tonight. So let me know in the comment sections down below how you guys felt about Backlash 2026. Let me know your guys' thoughts and opinions. If you guys disagree with me and you guys thought the show was way better than I thought it was, or if you disagree with me and think it was worse, which segment did you guys disagree with me on? Maybe disagree with me on my stance on the Danhausen match and segment. So let me know how you guys feel in the comment section down below. Remember, please hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, share with your friends and family so help the channel continue to grow. Until next time, guys, see you real soon.